Looks like it is.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Hey, well, thanks everybody for joining us tonight. It's a little bit after 7, so we're going to get started. I know that some of us have kids and responsibilities at home, so 7 o'clock at night. Yeah, we've got things to do, and it's sunny out and it's warm. So, but we wanted to tell you a bit about our program tonight. David's going to do the majority of the presentation. David Steinberg. We got two
Hi.
Davids tonight. David's the financial wizard with Olympic Mortgages, and yeah, so he's the guy that can make things happen. I'm just the guy that finds the deals. And David's the one that puts them together so that you can, get from renting to owning. So he's got all the tricks. So we're going to talk about some of that tonight. And yeah, so David,
Yeah, so
welcome
I'm just
and
gonna
take it
start.
away.
Yeah, so thanks everybody for coming. I'm helping David and Judy both you know helping them help you or anybody else get into the market, specifically with a very good financing rate for these properties in specific. And well, I'll just get into the presentation here. So I'll just start sharing my screen. And anybody that wants to just jump in and ask a question, we're not too big of a group that we can't just field questions as they come up. Or you can raise your hand, or you can type your question in, and either David or Judy can see those questions, and I can answer them, or David can answer it as we go. So here we go. So just getting right into the bones of it. What David is doing basically is that I have the ability to get a very low 6 month rate at 0.99%. So it's just 6 months at 0.99%, basically, which helps you first of all get the original mortgage approved. But then it also you could pay off a significant portion of your loan during that first 6 months. I mean, not a huge fantastic portion, but we'll get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty of to how much the payments would be and how much of the loan gets paid off in the first 6 months there, and some of the benefits with regards to this program. So let's see. Oh, can I click here? Oh, just a sec.
I see you got on.
Oh, did it click? Okay. So yeah, this slide basically just says that David Hale is essentially paying for me to be able to get this rate, because to get this rate for my clients, my company actually has to pay the lender to do the rate. So the lender is able to give us this crazy low rate of 0.99% because we're actually paying the lender. Whereas in most situations, in most scenarios, when I help somebody with a mortgage, the lender pays my company a portion, a small commission in order to help that person with the mortgage, and that's how things normally work. Here, we're actually paying the lender funds that David is gonna, David's got extra funds that he's able to give when he sells this development specifically. So he's going to be giving those funds over to us in order to buy down the rate for you, the end client, the end user. So we're going to start out with a mortgage comparison here. I'm just going to get into some basic numbers at first. So purchase price of these places is $779,900. Now, that 779,900, I believe, does that include GST, Dave?
No, it does not. However, if you're a first-time buyer, there's no GST on the first million.
Right. So here, what we have is the minimum down payment requirement. So minimum down payment requirement is 52,990. And that number comes from, we have to come up with, or the buyer has to come up with 5% of the first $500,000 in the purchase price, and 10% of any amount of the purchase price above 500,000. So just wanted to make sure, David, you can see the slideshow here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so we calculated out the total mortgage, including the CMHC insurance premium, to be $757,440, which includes a 4.2% insurance premium. Now that insurance premium is mandatory for anybody putting down less than 20%. And the insurance premium goes down whenever anybody hits the 10% or 15% or even 20% mark. So once you hit 20% of the purchase price as your down payment, you don't have to pay that. But we can't do that deal here. So it would be better for anybody putting 20% down. It would be better for them to take advantage of another offer that David has available on these developments specifically. But at 10% down, the insurance premium goes down to 3.3%. And then at 15% down, the insurance premium goes down to a straight 3%. Does anybody have any, or just any, I guess anybody can pipe up with questions or type them in. So that would be the original loan amount at the time of funding. $757,440 is what you would owe, and you'd have to come up with the down payment of $52,990 to get into one of these places.
Yeah. So
So
I have a
we're gonna do,
quick question,
yes,
David.
please. Yeah.
Just going back to this, the insurance premium with CMHC, with the 5% down. So does the insurance premium get tacked on to the mortgage then? You don't have to come up with that cash, correct?
Exactly, yeah. So
Okay.
the insurance premium gets added to the total mortgage amount, and
Okay.
you don't have to come up with that amount yourself. You really just have to come up with the down payment, the $52,000 that's required for the down payment. And
Okay.
unfortunately, right now there aren't really any programs available where there's any kind of down payment assistance programs. They've all been done away with, basically, over the past couple of years. I think the government and CMHC tried a few times with a few programs, but they weren't successful. So
No.
minimum down payment there is $52,990. So we'll just do it. Yeah, David?
Well, I was just going to say, some some of the lending institutions you deal with, though, will allow you to get a credit line, though, will they not, to help with the down payment?
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the lenders will, or CMHC and Sagan do have a borrowed down payment program where you can technically borrow the down payment from a line of credit. But those deals are underwritten on an extreme strict basis, and the amount of the amount of income required to qualify on those deals is so much higher
Is that
because
okay?
we have to debt service in the line of credit that the person is borrowing. So
Okay, like,
basically, just to give you a quick calculation, if somebody is borrowing 20 grand off of a line of credit, we have to add in a payment of $600 into the debt servicing ratios.
just in case they take it all the way up to 20 grand, right?
Well, if they borrow
Yeah.
from the line of credit 20 grand,
Okay.
then we have to use $600 as an extra monthly payment in the scenario.
Okay.
And it's already not the easiest mortgage to qualify for
Sure.
with the stress test and everything like that. But here we're
Okay.
there is some advantage when going with the 6 month rate here, and I'll show you
Yeah.
also why. So we'll just go through this here. The regular 5 year rate right now might be hovering around with many lenders around 4.19%. And so on that mortgage amount, the payments would be $3,727. Whereas on our 6 month special, 0.99, the payments would be $2,432. So it would be important for everybody to understand that while your payments for the first 6 months are going to be $2,432, which is really quite low, and I think much lower than anything anybody would pay on rent, maybe for a similar type of product. Um, the ultimate buyer would have to be aware that their rate is going to return around to where the regular rates sit, which is that payments of 37.27. That being said, In my personal opinion, I do think rates are still going to be going down over the next 6 months to a year. So we might very well end up at a 3.5% rate, 3.25% rate in another 6 months to a year, but that's not guaranteed. So we're just going off of, for this comparison model, we're just kind of using that 4.19%. So for that 4.19%, the interest over 6 months is going to be $16,048, while the interest on the 6 month rate special is only $3,719. So obviously right there, you're saving, just when you look at the difference on those two numbers, you're saving around 12,000, around or just over $12,000, $12,300. So it's a significant savings over 6 months. And you can see there the principal that's paid onto the mortgage over 6 months plus the balance of the mortgage after the 6 months is up. So these numbers aren't going to be moving. We're not moving mountains with these numbers, but what we're doing is giving everybody some sort of like an easier slide into home ownership by giving them that 6 month period where there'll be a lower payment, less interest paid to the bank, and with the expectation that the payments at that point in time is going to return to around that 3,700 mark, which I think is still probably around what somebody might rent for. Maybe they might even their rent might even be higher, maybe just a bit lower, but around there. The point with this is that instead of just paying rent, part of that $3,700 payment obviously is going to be going towards the principal of the loan. So in essence, by owning the house and living there, you're paying yourself back by building your equity.
David, can I ask 2 questions, please?
Yeah, please.
My first question is to you is if people need to qualify for the 0.99 for the first 6 months, do they have to re-qualify for the higher rate after the 6 months?
That's a great question. And that's one really nice thing about this product is that the borrower does not have to re-qualify after 6 months. It's just a renewal that's negotiated with the lender at the time at the 6 month time frame. So the lender will be in contact with the borrower and they'll offer a rate. And the rate is going to be competitive. Now, this isn't a bait and switch kind of thing where somebody's going to find, oh my gosh, after 6 months, my rate is going to be 6%. That's not the case. This lender is known for being one of Canada's lowest rate lenders. They don't want to chase their clients away. They want to keep their clients. So essentially, I can't necessarily promise that this lender is going to give whatever their absolute lowest advertised rate is at that time, but it will be a competitive rate on the market. Now, at that time of the 6 month period, the borrower will have the option of paying the lender out for a penalty of 1% of the mortgage amount. So if at the end of, worst case scenario, because I'm a mortgage broker, I always have to think of worst case scenarios. If the worst case scenario happened and the lender said, well, we're not going to give you a competitive rate at the 6 month period, we could always pay out that lender and go to a different lender for a cost of, well, about $7,000, which isn't great. But if that came to pass, then I help. I in that kind of situation, I help actually with donating a part of my commission in order to pay a penalty to move to a different lender. But I don't do that often with this lender because we're finding that after 6 months, we already have a bunch of clients coming up for renewal. They're all very happy with the rate. We haven't had to pay this lender out yet.
Okay.
But good question though, because if we do move the mortgage from this lender to another lender, the borrower will have to re-qualify. So it's not ideal if a borrower has to re-qualify, but we really have to kind of keep our eye on the ball here and say that this is what's getting me into the market. This lender is known for being Canada's low rate lender. They're going to give you a good competitive rate at the end of 6 months.
Okay, great.
The other aspect I think that I didn't even put into this I don't know if I put it into here. Is the stress test rate is actually much lower on this. It's easier to qualify for the mortgage.
I was going to ask about
So,
that.
yeah. While if we were to qualify for the regular rate of 4.19%, the stress test would be 6.19%. So all of the folks that are coming to me and saying, well, I want to get in at just the regular rate, I have to use a stress test rate of 6.19%, which requires a higher income to qualify versus the 6-month rate. Now, I can't do a qualifying rate of 2.99%. So the Bank of Canada doesn't allow us to do contract rate plus 2, even if the contract rate is 0.99. The Bank of Canada forces us to use a minimum stress test rate of 5.25. So the stress test here would be 5.25, which is about 1% lower than the regular stress test, which would be around 6.19. On this kind of inventory, it would be a difference of about, you could qualify with about 25 grand less income. So that's good for, what I recommend in this scenario is that anybody that's actually anybody that becomes interested in trying to qualify for this should just give me a call. I'll run all the quick numbers. I'll make sure I'll let you know, okay, based on your income of this, you'll qualify for this much money. You'll either qualify for the regular rate, or we can only qualify you on the 6-month rate because the stress test is cheaper or is lower. Does anybody have any
Okay.
questions on that? I know that's a lot of information.
So basically, bottom line, David, it's easier. You've got an easier time getting stress tested at 0.99%.
Yeah, well, the stress test's not going to be 2.99 because the stress test is technically 2% above the contract rate,
Yeah.
or 5.25, whichever is higher. So it's the minimum stress test rate in Canada right now, even if it was a 0% mortgage, the minimum stress test is still 5.25%.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I wish I could get people to qualify at 2.99%, because then I would be qualifying a whole lot more people to get into more inventory that they want. But Bank of Canada says, nope, we got to qualify it at a minimum of 5.25.
Okay. Can I ask David Hale my second question?
Sure.
David, I'm not sure that everybody is aware what these townhouses are really like. So if we're
Okay.
talking about, $3,700 mortgage payment versus rent payment,
Yeah.
can you
Sure.
tell us a little bit about these units?
Yes, they're 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. They're about over 1,800 square feet. Um, and they have a garage, and there's a bedroom downstairs on that same level. So be a good, teens room or grandma's room or somebody that, wanted to have a home office down there. And then upstairs, of course, they're 3 stories, 3 bedrooms up, 2 bathrooms up, one on the main. So bathroom on the main. So 3 bathrooms in
So
the house. And
I think,
yeah,
David, this background picture is of the development.
okay, yeah.
Do you see
Yes,
the
that's
screen?
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
this
yeah,
background picture is of the development.
yeah.
And what part of town is the development
It,
located in, David?
it's in Langford, around the Happy Valley, sort of Luxton Fairground area.
Okay.
So yeah, fairly
Super
close.
family
Yeah,
oriented.
yeah. Quick
Good schools
access to
around
the
there.
West Shore Parkway. If you need to get to the highway as well. Yeah, so decent location. And yeah, I'm seeing Maka asking about the square footage. So the one I'm looking at here is 1857 square feet. So yeah, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms. Satnam's asking about the strata fee. It's 287. So pretty low. Of course, they're usually low when they're brand new. But then you start saving up for the strata or for the um, basically
Contingency fund.
contingency fund. Thank you, Judy. Um, Yeah.
So it's going to be a well-funded, it's going to be a well-funded development. There's not, and it's
Yeah.
brand new. So
Yeah. Brand new.
everybody gets obviously the 2, 5, 10-year warranty.
Yes. Correct. Yeah. So they usually come in after the first year to 2 years and make sure that there's no nails that have popped, or the building hasn't shifted a little bit, and touch up anything that's gone wrong. And then the majority of things are covered for 5 years, and then the structure itself is covered for 10 years. So that's just a law that British Columbia has, basically, that yeah. So
They build these places to last 200 years, 300 years though.
Thank you,
well,
David.
yeah,
Maybe with
I'm not
AI,
sure.
we'll all still be alive by then.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyhow, what's happening here, and the reason that we're having this webinar tonight is, we'll cover it in some slides coming up. But the developer is, wants to sell a few units, and so what he's done is offered me as a realtor a bonus. And I'm saying, hey, I'm just happy with a regular commission. So I don't need to be greedy. I don't need to be, trying to sell these and make a bunch of extra money myself. I'm just happy to make a sale. I get paid a decent amount of money just to, for any kind of sale that I make. So what I'm doing, David and I got together and I said, well, I don't mind passing a bonus on to help someone in the market. So that bonus is in the form of a 0.099% rate for 6 months. Or if you want to just go with the best rate that David can find you right off the bat, then I'll give you a $5,000 cash reward or bonus, and you can use that for moving expenses, for new furniture, whatever you want. So that's basically, the impetus of, why we're doing this webinar tonight.
Yeah. So I guess this next slide just kind of talks about like what, really building your equity with regards to we don't want to belabor the point, but when folks are renting, generally, you're paying your rent, and it's nice to have a place to be able to stay. But when you're owning your home, you're actually paying down a mortgage at the same time. So here in this situation, assuming you continue on with a mortgage of around 4.19% for the rest of the 5 years, your balance at the 5-year mark would actually be 683,000. So after 5 years, you've paid down your mortgage by about $73,700. And that's really also not taking into account that generally over time, values of real estate go up. So, we've all seen it. We've all seen it in the past 20, 15, 10, and last 5 years. There's been bumps up in real estate. And owning something over a longer period of time, you're always owning something and living in it, you're always going to come out on top in the end. This isn't just you investing in something that's going to ever go down in value. We're in a very special market here, especially in Victoria, where we generally really only see prices go up. But even if prices over the next 2 or 3 or 5 years did just remain constant, you would be paying down your mortgage while paying it. So I'm a mortgage broker for a long time. I've never ever seen any of my clients say, well, I wish I didn't buy the house 5 years ago, or I wish I didn't buy the house 10 years ago. And I don't see that necessarily changing over the next 5 years. Even with all the uncertainty in the world, and even with a potentially increasing interest rate environment.
Yeah. So
David?
can I? Yes.
Yep.
Oh, just so Lee is asking what would be an average income to qualify, and I'm just checking if you're going to be covering that later on in one of your slides.
Yeah, let me just I'm gonna unshare my screen for a second, and then I'm gonna open my mortgage calculator, because that's a great question.
Okay.
I think we can just get right into that.
While you're doing that, David, I just want to reiterate that this townhouse that's up for sale for 779.9, you would need to pay at least $3,500 a month to rent that. So you're pretty close to the same amount at 3,700 with all in with taxes and strata fee and everything and the mortgage at you're about the same as what it would cost you for rent. And at the end of 5 years, you're going to own $73,000 worth of that property because of the principal pay down. So that's the bottom line. And if you rent, you got zero, right?
Exactly. I'm just punching in the numbers here. So it's 779,900, right?
Yes.
Okay. And the minimum down payment we said was 52.
Yeah, 52.
Okay, I'm just going to reshare my screen here and we can answer the question. Everybody can see where all the magic happens on the on the mortgage calculator. Okay. So I've got everybody can see my screen. I'm just going to make it bigger here so that you guys can see these. I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. Oh, did it work? No, I can't zoom in.
It's on the screen.
Can you see my screen?
Yep. Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to zoom in a little bit.
That's okay. It's readable.
Okay.
Yeah, the numbers are visible.
Okay, so we got 5.25% interest rate. Well, that's the stress test rate. So that's what I put in here when I'm just working on qualifications.
Yeah.
I've got the purchase price in there. I've got the down payment pretty close in, pretty tight in to what we're looking at. So for a total mortgage of around 757.8. Property tax per year, we're gonna peg in at around
that's
3250 per year, I think. And what was the strata fee you said, David?
Strata fee is 287.
Okay. And heating on townhouses is a little bit less of a requirement.
Every place has a heat pump.
A heat pump, yeah. So which is more efficient. So, but I still have to use.
75 is probably good.
Yeah. 75. So here in this case, this number that we're looking at, this GDSR number 42. So that number has to be under 39% for us to qualify. So I've got to boost my income here required to let's say 142.5. So we have to have a combined income, a family income of 142.5 to get into these places, and that's just on the 6-month rate. So there's still some significant amount of funds required, I guess, as an income, but we know that we live here in Victoria as a kind of an expensive market, so c'est la vie. And then, but as a comparison, what we would have to what the income that we would need at 6.19%, I'll just kind of change that number there, and then boost the income to what I think we would need.
And why are you boosting the rate again? Is that your test?
Only to give a comparison as to what income somebody would need to qualify under the regular rate, which would be around 157,000 versus 142.5 on the 6-month rate. Just a comparison so that folks can see. Pardon me.
Once they get the low rate, then they don't have to requalify though.
Yeah, they don't have to requalify.
Okay, I guess that's the beauty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, is that you only need that the lower of the two numbers to qualify, the 142,500. So that's what we would need to qualify. Does that answer the question? I think so. Does anybody have any other questions, or anybody want me to run anything else on my handy dandy calculator here?
Well, while the calculator's up.
While the calculator's up, I can go back. Can you guys see the screen again?
Lee says yes, that does answer his question.
Thank you.
His or her, I'm not sure who Lee is.
No questions yet from Satnam. Okay. Yeah, let's see. Maybe push full screen if you've got the capability there, David. I don't know.
I know I did it before.
Yeah.
Here it is. Is this full screen? Here, enter full screen mode. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
So like as we were kind of repeating ourselves a little bit, is that if we bought generally, back in 2019, if we were looking at the same kind of inventory, that probably would have been priced around 550 to 600,000, I would say,
Yeah.
from what I remember from about 6 years ago. And now these same townhouses sell for 780 grand. I guess a lot of people might be asking, "Oh, well, what's to say that the price of real estate is just not going to increase over the next 5 years because it's already inflated to a certain amount?" I'd probably say that in my estimation, I don't think we're going to see the same type of increase over the next 5 years, but I don't think it's just going to stay at a flat 780. I think we're still going to see some price appreciation over the next 5 years. I just don't think we'll see necessarily as much price appreciation as we saw in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
But we also have to remember that you get some price appreciation with the value of the townhouse going up, but then you also get the component of, well, you're also paying the mortgage down at the same time. So part of
Yeah.
that payment that you're making, that $3,700 payment, is going towards interest or principal.
Yeah.
Of course, it's going towards interest too.
Yeah. So our
Well,
calculations were 73,000 that you would be up in your basically in your jeans if you sold in 5 years. You'd at least have that principal or a principal pay down portion of about 73 grand in your pocket if you sold.
yeah, yeah. So I think this is the last of the screens, or I don't know if there's any more here after this. Yeah. So, um, me and my team can help anybody work out what their options are going to be, um, with regards to this property or even other properties. Of course, we're just talking about this property in this presentation here, but I'm happy to talk to anybody just in general about their situation, figure out if they can or can't do something at this point in time. If you can't do something right now, we work on a plan together to get you in to something that you'll be able to get into in 6 months, 2 years time, kind of thing. Me and my team work hard to make sure that we can get our clients into owning homes. So there's our contact information on that screen. So with David Hale's incentive, you either choose the 6 month rate at 0.99, or you get the $5,000 cash back in that scenario. Here's our contact information again. Take note. Does anybody have any questions? We're running at about a half-hour time, so I think that's a good time frame. Does anybody have any questions, thoughts, concerns, doubts? Something to say?
David, I have a question for you, David
Great.
Steinberg.
Yep.
On average, how long does it take for a person to get qualified?
We're very quick in my office. So
Yeah, because we know that this deal's not going to last forever, right?
yeah, no, I mean, it's generally when somebody phones my office and I put I'll be able to give somebody, even just with a preliminary phone conversation, I'm able to give people an idea. So to get somebody an idea, it just takes a 15-20 minute phone conversation with me. I ask all the pertinent questions. And then after that first conversation, we go into document collection stage. Lenders these days do ask for everything and the kitchen sink, I should say, but I don't want to scare people off. We collect the documents, generally just like pay stubs, T4s. If you're self-employed, we'll collect tax returns, and then we'll also collect documentation pertaining to the down payment. If you don't have the down payment, or if you're getting some of the down payment from another source, such as a gift from family, we can discuss that in our initial phone call, and I won't have to get documentation pertaining to that. But generally, once we have documentation within my office, and once the client has an accepted offer on the property, which I'll give the client the go ahead to make an offer once I see everything. and once we've pulled a credit bureau in my office, once a client has an accepted offer, subject to financing, of course, it'll only take my office a day to get an approval from a lender.
Wow.
Because these approvals are very quick because it's all CMHC insured financing.
Right.
The lenders don't need to send a request up to head off. Generally, applications get declined, or sorry, not declined. Generally, applications get delayed if there's if it's a very complex situation, or if a file needs to be sent up to quote unquote head office. But in this situation, these approvals can be very quick, even in 24 hours sometimes. We have to pull a bureau in my office, but we pull the bureau for all lenders that we use. So we only have to pull one bureau, and we only pull that bureau at the time of application to the lender.
Right. Okay.
So the
And
time frames would be like, generally what we recommend to people for time frames is you want to put 7 to 10 business days for the subject to's time frame. So I'm going to get everybody to defer their questions over to Dave with regards to strategy on lining up dates and everything, because he's the realtor. But generally what we would want to see is that a subject to time frame, subject financing time frame would be about 7 days, 7 business days. And then closing should be at least a month away, if not a little bit longer than that.
okay, and
Yeah.
David Hale, I have a question for you.
Okay, sure.
When are these townhouses available for viewing?
Well, they're built. There's a couple show suites, and really easy to show. So anytime that we can arrange to meet up together. I actually only live about 2 blocks away. So if you phone me up and said, "Hey, I'm on my way. I want to see these," I might be able to say, "Yes, okay, let's go." Yeah, so easy to show, and they're ready to be purchased right now. So there's a few available. There are some that are, 10,000 more to 20,000 more. But the price leader is 779.9, so that'll be the cheapest unit. And yeah, easy to show. And as soon as they've sold a bunch, they'll probably pull the promotion. But right now it's going, so it's a good time to be sort of, I guess we could say, taking advantage of the
It's a
developer
nice
that needs to
incentive.
sell a few. Yeah,
It's a
yeah,
nice incentive because the 0.99% rate, as the numbers show, saves the client about $12,000, $12,500 in interest.
yeah.
So
And going back to that slide, you pay down over $10,000 in the first 6 months, so that money goes back in your pocket. So your payment is really only, I think you said 2,400. So if that's about what's that, about 12 grand over 6 months,
That's
something like
right,
that, a
David.
little bit more. Yeah. And
That's what it
so
was.
you get 10 grand back in your pocket. That's huge. That's a big
yeah,
savings. And it's
basically on that 0.99%, almost all of the payment goes towards the principal. And you can see here that the principal on the 0.99%, the payment is lower and the balance after 6 months is lower.
yeah.
So I like
So
it.
you're sort of taking advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
You're getting to take advantage of the system.
Yeah.
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 So if anybody doesn't know, I'm David's wife and I'm also his assistant in his real estate business. And about 3 weeks ago, we went to a realtor open house and viewed these units, and they are really lovely. They're nicely done, and I can honestly say it would be someplace that I would be happy to live.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, they look like nicely. Who's the developer here, Dave? Or do you know?
I don't actually, I forget their name. But the site itself is a couple acres, so there's a couple more phases to go on this particular one. Yeah. But I was also going to give you another plug, David, and just if anybody's interested or wonders why you would go to a mortgage broker versus a bank, David Steinberg has the opportunity to shop about 30 different lenders. So he can tell you based on your experience, maybe you're maybe one of the parties that want to purchase is self-employed, for instance, so things can get a little complicated, and David knows like which lenders are best to go to if you're a self-employed person, right? And so on. He knows the tricks of the trade, and everybody has little, different little rules and regulations. Sometimes it's not the best interest rate is the you wouldn't go necessarily to the best interest rate, and David could tell you why. Because we all think the cheaper the better, but some of these, uh, companies lock you in and have a heavy penalty to sort of leave them, right? So,
Yeah, I mean, on this, honestly, although with anybody putting less than 20% down, the rules across the board are almost the same, but there are a few programs that Sagan, for example, offers their Alt A program. Sagan Alt A allows folks who have been claiming they're self-employed and they maybe haven't been claiming as much on their income tax returns, but they can prove that their business is earning a good amount of money. That kind of circumvents the system. Now, on that one, though, 10% down is required. You can't do the minimum down payment and combine that program with it.
yeah.
Okay, yeah, Lee, go
Yeah.
ahead and shoot your question.
Yeah. Can you unmute Lee? Let me see where Lee is over here. Are you
Here,
able
let's
to
see. Oh,
unmute
here we
Lee?
can ask us. Oh no, he's working on it here.
Oh, okay.
Phone's blocking him.
Oh,
But yeah, Dave, like we do have a lot of lenders that we can work with, but generally with less than 20% down. Generally with less than 20% down, the rules are fairly similar across the board. There's maybe very minor differences. So here in this kind of situation with less than 20% down, we really are just going for the best interest rate and making sure we're not putting anybody into a mortgage that is going to be too onerous, or any kind of mortgage that has too much, like a very large penalty. Excuse me. Oh, sneeze.
Bless you.
Lee, can you? Lee's gonna come in here. Maybe it'll help if I ask to unmute. Maybe that'll work.
yeah, I tried that.
Okay.
Lee's phone. Asked to unmute. Oh, that's weird.
Shoot, because now I really want to know what Lee's questions are. It's just burning inside me.
Maybe Lee can just type them into the
Maybe
chat.
Or he can just phone me.
who else can we? Yeah, who else can we ask to unmute? How about Addie? You want to see if it works, Addie? I wonder if I've got my settings set.
Hi. Yes, Dave.
Oh.
I can hear you.
Oh, there you
clearly.
go. It worked.
Yeah, I'm here. Yep, it does.
So
Okay.
Oh, there we go. Oh,
that was Addie just
yeah. So
kind of
it's
proving that you could.
Oh, there we go. Hi, Lee.
Hey,
Hey,
Lee.
how's it going?
there you
Good.
go.
Good. How are you?
Sorry, got knocked out.
No, don't be sorry.
But yeah, no, appreciate the info so far. Really good stuff. I'll just I'll be transparent, and then I guess I'll just fire off some stuff and see what your thoughts are. But so the qualified income might be a little bit out of my reach, but what got my attention was when I was talking to David Hale. He's talking about co-ownership. And then so I do have somebody that I want to go into co-ownership, which isn't a household income. So I was curious if that's an option within this, or is that not a thing, and within this strata in particular as well?
No, that's allowed. Matter of fact, Judy and I own a place with another couple upstairs. Now we have separate suites, mind you, but it doesn't really matter. David, I'll let you answer that question. As long as there's, a couple people can go in together and buy a place together.
Yeah, as long as there's an understanding between the parties that are going into it, the lender will add on, lenders will allow you to co-own a property with somebody else. And so even though it's not considered a quote unquote household income, as long as that person who you're going into co-ownership with understands the implications of signing on the mortgage with you, then they can definitely help you qualify. It will also depend on what kind of agreement or arrangement you have with the person that you're going to be co-owning the property with.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I have a 12-page joint venture agreement, Lee,
Yeah.
that I would supply
More
with, for you, right? If you wanted to get into a co-ownership agreement.
Because that's kind of where I was at. So between us, and I'm
Yeah.
not sure how it works with the mortgage, and if it's we do co-ownership, it wouldn't qualify under like the 5% first-time home buyer because, or I don't know if it would. If it would, that'd be great. But then if it doesn't,
It should.
would it go up to 10% or would it go up to 20% if you do co-ownership?
Well, it'd be on your
No, it's-
portion, I think. If it was a 50-50 split, I think 50% would be you would qualify, David, right? For the
No,
for his
it's just
no.
5%. The minimum down payment would just be the minimum down payment, no matter who's purchasing the property.
Okay.
So if there's two people, basically, we don't have to worry about quote unquote first time home buyer for the second person. Anybody, even if you're not a first time home buyer, you can still qualify for a less than 20% down loan, but you have to qualify on 25 years instead of 30. So, but because if you'd be a first time home buyer and the other person isn't a first time home buyer, then you still qualify for the 30-year and you can still put the minimum down payment down.
Okay. And then in this like strata in particular, is it like can you rent afterwards?
Yes.
So
Yes.
after, I'm assuming that like after 1 year of living in, then you are allowed to rent. Is
Yes.
that, or does that deal doesn't offer that?
No. Well, the strata, it's the David's the rules that I guess if you're going under a first time buyer, right, David? Then the rules are they'd have to live there for a year.
Well, technically to be able to not have to pay the first time home buyer property transfer tax, or sorry, the property transfer tax, but that's waived here anyways because it's new inventory. Sorry, not technically, actually. The lender does stipulate that this place has to be your primary residence
Forever?
while you have the mortgage. But people's situations always change.
Yeah.
So basically, my rule of thumb is that once you're in there and you're living there and something changes in your life and you have to rent the place out, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't necessarily see in this kind of situation what purpose that would be, because I don't know if rents here are going to be above the $4,000 that you might need to cash flow the thing.
Okay.
These aren't really purpose. These aren't rent purpose. This wouldn't be a great thing for a rental property.
Okay. Okay, that's fair.
Well,
No,
Lee, you could easily rent the room downstairs. You could put a little bar fridge and, a little microwave in there, and it would be easy to rent because you'd have your own access, and you wouldn't have to disturb the rest of the house upstairs. So it'd be a good student room downstairs. What I could see, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody, Lee? Did you have any other questions?
no, that pretty much covers them all right there.
Okay.
Did you want me to give you a shout, Lee?
Yeah. Give me a call tomorrow.
What's your number?
778 350
Yeah.
9200.
9200. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Amaka. Okay.
Cool. All right. I'll hop off the audio and video too. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anybody have any other questions before we all wrap up? Oh, so Anil has a question. Why is my thing so big here? Yes, so you need approximately 52,000 in down payment and an annual salary of around like 142,000, I think we said. Payment schedule is for the first 6 months. Yeah, so I'll share my screen again and go back to this one. So can everybody see this screen here?
Yes.
Yeah. So to answer Anil's question, yes, you'd need around an income, household income of around 142,000. You need an initial down payment of 52,990 plus the 142,000 in per year income to qualify, and the payments for the first 6 months would be around that 2432 mark, not including strata fees or property taxes. Actually, we should always think about property taxes
Right.
too.
Yeah.
And the payments after, in principal and interest payments after the 6 months would be that 3,700 amount.
Yeah, and with strata and taxes, I think that's about ends up to be about 42, David, with everything all in.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But then
But
again,
for the first 6 months, significantly lower.
yeah, and you get 10 grand back in your pocket, 10,800, and then over a 5-year period, 73 grand back. That's if your townhouse does not go up in value.
Yeah,
And
assuming your
yeah.
townhouse doesn't go up in value, you're still paying off the mortgage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still got 73 grand in
And
your
you can't
pocket. Yeah.
and you can't be evicted or whatever it is. Unfortunately, these days I have tons of people calling me and saying, my landlord is selling the house and I have to find a place in 3 months. So can I buy a place? And I don't like that story.
Yeah. No, it's
I like it
stressful.
when I like it when I can help those folks buy
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Because when you buy something, you can't be forced out of where you are unless you're not paying the mortgage, I guess. But yeah. Anybody have any other questions before we log out here? I mean, I think you have our contact information. Just feel free to phone us or phone me anytime. I'm happy to chat, give everybody 15, 20, 25 minutes to see what we can do, if you can qualify or not. I've been a mortgage broker what feels like forever now, but since 2009. So I know I know what it takes to help qualify, to get you to qualify, and yeah.
Let's put that screen up there for just a second. Everybody wants to take a shot of it. You're welcome to.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
I think let's call it there, David. Judy.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Sounds good.
Thanks so much for having me, and thanks to everybody for coming on. And if anybody has any questions, please just give us a call.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody, for taking the time. Appreciate you being there.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Dave.
Okay. You're very welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Good night,
Awesome.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, Dave. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Good night.